1 month to the day after Reagan announced to the world that he was going with Lyndon LaRouche's policy, Wall Street broker John Train launched a series of meetings involving journalists and government officials, including officials of the National Security Council who had opposed the SDI, to plan a coordinated media assault to get LaRouche. Train began his career in the 1950s working for the CIA's Congress for Cultural Freedom. In the period following the establishment of the Train Salon, there were no independent journalists covering LaRouche. The press assaults were entirely orchestrated from the top down in collaboration with some of the highest levels of the government. The Soviet press called for Lyndon LaRouche to be investigated. They called for him to be prosecuted. They accused him of killing the Swedish prime minister. They said he would be a cause for war.
The Soviets went so far as to produce a prime-time docudrama accusing LaRouche.
Европейской рабочей партии уже сила. Более 10 стран, штаб-квартира в США. Точная цель – борьба с коммунизмом. Борясь с красными, они не забывают и о розовых. Послушайте, что говорит их лидер LaRouche.
So Gorbachev and Soviet military leaders called for a summit in Reykjavik, Iceland, intending to finally break President Reagan away from LaRouche and force him to abandon the SDI. The forces in the United States and the Soviet Union grew increasingly desperate, and they were willing to risk much to bring down LaRouche. In the United States, LaRouche was not only a major factor in the White House, but his associates were spreading his ideas in elections across the country. In only 7 months, John Train's press assault pumped out over 15,000 slander articles. Yet LaRouche's associates were running for office and winning more and more votes. 60 articles a day, 7 days a week, pumped through the press. But the American people were not breaking with LaRouche, and the president was not breaking with LaRouche either. One day before the Reykjavik summit, on October 6, 1986, the sleepy farm town of Leesburg, Virginia, was invaded by a federal task force of hundreds. Lyndon LaRouche's campaign offices were raided, and his home was surrounded by over 400 federal, state, and local police personnel with aircraft and armored vehicles. The intention was not for LaRouche to be peacefully turned over to the authorities, nor was it to have a long trial and sentencing. The intention was to stop his influence through assassination.
Clearly, President Reagan did not want anything to do with a government political assassination conducted by his own government. So somewhere within the White House and those intelligence circles, there was a fight pushing back against those led by people like Henry Kissinger, who wanted the outcome of the October 1986 raids to be the murder of Lyndon LaRouche and God knows how many other of his colleagues.
The legal frame-up of Lyndon LaRouche reached the boiling point in early 1987, when the federal government forced LaRouche's publishing companies into involuntary bankruptcy, an unprecedented act in American history, declared illegal only 2 years later. 1 month after the Department of Justice bankrupted, seized, and liquidated LaRouche's major publications, LaRouche warned of the outbreak of a major collapse in mid-October. As these forecasts played out, LaRouche fought the Department of Justice frame-up to ensure his availability to America, Russia, and the rest of the world during the looming crisis of 1989.